Hello, Professor. First of all, I just want to apologize about the low quality of this video. I'm currently out of town in Chicago, working as I seem to always do. But I wanted to present this paper to you in oral form and show you some arguments I have that back up the fact that working remotely is the new norm and should be the new norm in our society as a whole, and how it will benefit employees and employers moving forward. But as you know, the paper that I wrote, it aimed to evaluate the benefits of remote work, how remote work affects employees, employers, and society as a whole. And what I argued was why remote work should be the new norm going forward. And it all started with the breakout of COVID-19. I mean, the working world literally changed forever. As employers, employees, the educational system had to modify their businesses to adapt to the new working world in order to comply with social distancing. Many businesses began to allow their employees to telecommunicate, or in other words, work remotely. There are a few points that I wanted to touch on, when, for example, the 9 to 5 work days, those result in dealing with traffic. Remote work, it's going to minimize the amount of time you spend on the road commuting, and with that comes avoiding car maintenance, which costs money. You'll save money on work clothes. Sorry about that. Dry cleaning, meals outside that you spend, whether it's taking employees out or customers. So you're saving a lot of money. You're also avoiding, not putting yourself in danger every day. Driving, with the commute comes, traffic comes. You could have negative effects with pollution, breathing in the air every day, collisions, road rage. And you also gain distance from, which I think this is huge, is office politics that can have a complete negative effect on the employee's performance. So, commuting virtually is going to eliminate the gossip and the negative interactions that you would have working in an office. So there's several, distractions when it comes to working in the workplace from an office. I mean, the unwanted noises to noisy coworkers arguing and yelling. I'm not saying every office is like that, but you do avoid the drama in some cases. And employees that work from home, they have the opportunity to set up their working arrangements the way they want it. Remote work is giving employees more space and more time to concentrate. And remote work also entails more flexibility, which, being a business, an executive for a trucking company, you want your employees to have that flexibility, and you want them to be happy. A happier employee goes hand in hand with being more productive in the workplace. I mean, we at my company, we want everyone to enjoy where they work. And we've actually incorporated several of our employees, given them the option to work from home. And we've noticed that they have been much more productive and much more happier. And managers, sorry, my light, that want their employees to be happier and more productive have to consider remote work as an option to their employees. And that's only if it's possible with their organization. And it comes down to trust with the employer. Trust between the employee and the employer goes both ways. And management should have an obligation to trust their employees to work autonomously without their eyes on them in a healthy working environment, which I believe is something we should be working towards in society. A little more trust with the people we hire, with the people that work for us. And that will, as you read in the paper, there are several points that back that up, that people are more productive. I'm sorry. And I wanted to touch on inflation. Inflation is really making it hard for many Americans to afford the basic necessities and costs of things like housing and groceries. Obviously the groceries, anyone who's been to a store lately, the prices have skyrocketed. And that's while the wages have remained fairly stagnant. And Americans need financial stability. In the wake of high inflation, and remote work would be a step in the right direction financially, as Americans, they could have sustainability on transportation costs and housing costs if they choose to move to a more affordable area. Remote work could also potentially improve the air quality by reducing pollutants from vehicles, because telecommuters do not drive to work no more. Sorry, I have notes up. The housing market is also currently in a crisis, and real estate prices and rent are reaching record prices as we know it. It's very hard to buy a home. Rent super high. With remote work could potentially, alleviate the housing market by allowing current city dwelling employees to sprawl out to cheaper areas. I live in Corona. I know there's been a lot of people that have moved out from South Orange County to Corona. I know people who have moved from LA to Riverside, and they found that they have been able to find more affordable housing in very good areas now that they're able to work remotely. And I see that forcing employees to drive to an office every day in traffic and wear a suit and tie 5 days a week to a job that they could just do from home instead should be really a thing of the past. And companies really lose virtually nothing by allowing their employees to complete their jobs from home in their pajamas. While employees have a lot to gain, especially financially, employees have a ton to gain financially, and also have the ability to improve their home life and possibly purchase a house or give their family the amount of space they need in the house because they're able to move to a different area and move outside of LA, which is ridiculously expensive. Orange County, ridiculously expensive. Even Corona, where I live, is ridiculously expensive. So in many cases, employers will save money by transitioning to remote work because they can cut down on sustainability, on office space leases, on other expenses. Even though the majority of managers are against working from home, it's more of a micromanaging thing. They need to put aside their grievances and make it a priority to emphasize on telecommunicating. Telecommunicating is a thing of the future, for the working environment within their organizations for the sake of their employees. Any potential drawbacks that could result from remote working environment are heavily outweighed, I feel like, by the potential benefits for employees. Management, in my opinion, should feel an obligation to, create the best working conditions reasonably possible for their workers for a variety of reasons. And they could easily do that without losing anything of concern by enacting a fully remote working culture for their employees. I mean, you know, to close out, I just truly believe that working from home only, or the benefits outweigh um, the negative aspect of it. And we need to trust our employees. We need to help them prosper. We need to help them not only have a good work environment, but a good home environment, and give them the ability to succeed, and not only succeed with work, but succeed in living where they want to live, keeping their family healthy, keeping their family safe, um, trusting them that they're going to be productive at home. Um, and I know all job sectors don't necessarily fit this model, but the majority do. And I'm glad that we're heading in this type of a direction. And if we can gain any positives from the COVID-19 pandemic, I truly believe that uh, telecommunicating and working remotely is the biggest benefit, one of the biggest benefits we've had. So that's my presentation, and thank you, Mrs. Carter, and I apologize for me doing this like this, but uh, thank you, and the capstone class was wonderful. Bye.